This video will cover Assignment 5 Part 2, the update and delete portions. So we'll be looking at the update and delete portions of this assignment. That's going to involve the update, doUpdate, and delete pages. To complete this, again, we're working on this entire larger assignment, so all these files are still going to be together. This video is just going to focus on this portion of it. Still looking at that same finished solution here. This time we're looking at the update side. So we've got to, we have to have, in this case, if I go back to select, we're going to find that there's not a shipper with ID of 2, because I think people have been using the assignment. Yeah, so it's changed from last time. So let's go back to insert. I can put 2 and just put something. It doesn't really matter. Insert. So there's my shipper ID of 2. So when we come to update, that will automatically populate. So that's one of the keys that we're looking at, is we're going to select from the database the ID of the shipper ID of 2, and we're going to auto-populate these fields. And then when we change these fields and hit update, it will reflect here. So we can update that information. And then likewise, if we're on select, you'll see there's a shipper ID of 2, and I hit delete. It disappears and brings us right back. So it just, there's no other page it went to. I mean, there's a do delete, but it comes right back, or there's a delete.php, comes right back to here, so you never see it. So that's what we're going to work on. It's the same tables we've been working with. So again, remember that HTTPS. Remember to choose Gauss. Again, we're looking at those same tables. Shippers Lab 5 here should have 1, 2, and 3 in it. Again, watch your capitalization. But we're going to be doing an update statement this time. So I'm going to scroll down to mine, and I'm going to go to Shippers Lab 5. And we're going to go to the SQL tab. And much like the last video, we're going to start off with looking at the update statement by itself. So let's understand the update statement first. So it's going to start with update table name. Update, and then the name of the table. So the name of the table's right here. It's also right here. The columns are right here. So update, Shippers Lab 5, keyword set, and then it is column equal value, comma, column equal value. So we're going to say set company name, that's a column name over here, right? So set company name equal to a value, and phone equal to a value. Now, if we leave it like this, let's fill this out. So let's say company name is equal to ABC Corp, and the phone number is this. Now, if I do this, it's going to update every row to be company name, ABC Corp, and phone of 1, 2, 3. So every one of them. So you saw in my table, there's more than 3 listed there. There's several examples. I'm gonna do a Control A, Control C, copy that. Let's come out here and look at the Shippers Lab 5 table. If I run that query the way it is right now, every single one of these right here in this column will change to ABC Corp, and every single one of these right here will change to the 1, 2, 3 that I entered. So we need what's called a where clause. Let's come back to the SQL, paste it. We need a where clause to determine which one row to look at. So it's where, that's a keyword, where some column name equals a value. Now the column name we choose is the primary key, which is unique and not null. So I'll do where shipper ID, which is this column right here. So again, this shipper ID is unique and it's not null, it's not going to repeat. And we're going to say is equal to 2 because that's the one we're looking at. Again, you'll notice there's no single quotes around it because shipper ID is an integer, right? We covered that last time. If you go to structure, you'll see that shipper ID is an integer, and you'll see that company name and phone are variable length characters. Characters are text. Text requires single quotes around it. So we do where shipper ID is 2. It will make this change. I'm going to do a Control A, Control C. Hit go. One row affected. Come back to browse. Shipper ID of 2 changes to ABC Corp and 123, 123, so on. So let's go back to SQL. Again, I'm going to do it again for good measure. Update table name set is a keyword. Set column name equal to value, comma, it could just be that, and then where column name, usually the primary key, equals a value, in this case 2. So it could just be this, and let's change it to DEF Inc. So update table name set column name equal value where column name equal value. And again, shipper ID is our primary key. It's unique, which means it's not going to repeat, and it's not null, so it's not empty. So where it equals 2, there's only one that's going to have the number of 2. Again, 2 is an integer. We don't need single quotes. I hit go. Come back to browse. I'll see 2 change to DEF Inc. And again, for the one that we're using in PHP, it will be update shippers lab 5 set company name equal to a value, phone equal to a value, where shipper ID is equal to 2. And then we need to enter whatever goes here. Okay, update table name. Table name is here and here. Update table name set column equal value, comma, column equal value, where column equal value. This is the one we're going to be doing in doUpdate.php, but we'll have concatenation here and here. Go, browse, and there's our update once again. So it's time for us to look at our solution. Our update page is there because we copied it, right? We got it in that zip file. So your base to start with is already there. Let's go ahead and fix this on both these pages. I noticed this in the last video, but I didn't fix it. So let's fix it on both of these so that they line up properly. We'll come back to here. Let's go to insert first. And let's just change the field set here. Instead of 400, let's just make it a little bit wider and see if 420 works. I'll do a save. And insert. So there, mine lined up. If yours, for some reason, didn't quite do it, make it 430. See if that works, okay? Let's come back to here and go to the update page. So again, this is the one that in our solution here, this is the one that we got out of the zip file. Remember, we started with an insert and an update file. So we're working on that update that's there. And same thing here in this field set. I'm going to change this to a 420. Save that, and we'll go make sure that lines up. And again, if yours doesn't, try making it a little bit larger, and it should line up for you. So there, those line up the way we want them. Pretty easy fix. So at the top of update here, similar to our other pages, we're going to open our PHP, going to start the session, we're going to check for an error message and clear it, or sorry, check for an error message and set the error message if it's not been used. So we check to see if empty $_session. If that's empty, that means it's not been used yet. So we're going to just set it equal to the empty string so that it exists. That's all we're doing there. Just making sure that it exists so that later when we try to use it, we don't get a PHP error. And we're going to do an include. Includes folder, open database connection.php. And that's all we'll have at the top. So same as the last file there. We've got our include menu here. Then inside or before this form, remember what we're doing on update is auto-populating that field. So it's got the three fields there. So we are auto-populating it. So inside of this PHP here, we are going to write our select statement. So in order to auto-populate, we've got to select from the database. So we'll do SQL equals. And we need to select. And we need to select one particular row, right? So we want to select where the shipper ID is equal to 2. So we'll do select shipper ID, company name, phone, from table name, watch your capitalization, from table name, where column, primary key, is equal to a number. Well, in this case it's a number. It could be something different next time. So we select the 3 columns, shipper ID, company name, and phone, from the table ShippersLab5, where a column equals a value. In this case, where the primary key, which is unique and not null, where the primary key uniquely identifies a single record in the table equals 2. There's only one that will equal 2. So this gives me one record or 0 records if it doesn't exist. Let's go ahead and execute that. We'll do $result is equal to MySQLi underscore query. We pass it the database connection and the SQL query to execute. Again, we check. If we check to see if the result is empty. If the result is empty, then we need to set num results equal to 0. Otherwise, I'm going to use brackets in both places. Otherwise, num results is equal to MySQL num rows, and we pass it result because it's not empty. All right. So again, MySQL num rows counts the number of rows that are in the result. So we've got the SQL statement, which selects based on one unique ID, so there will either be one row or there won't be any. We take that SQL statement, we pass it into MySQL query along with the database connection from OpenDBCon. The result comes back here. This result is basically a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is either going to have one row or it's going to have 0 rows. If it has 0 rows, then we set num results to 0. But if it has one row, which is what we want, it comes here, and MySQL num rows counts the number of rows in that spreadsheet for us and stores the number of rows here. After that, $row is equal to MySQL fetch array, and we pass it the result. Again, MySQL fetch array gets the next row out of the spreadsheet. Now there's only one row in this, so we're only going to see MySQL fetch array one time. So we're going to, we put it here. You notice last time we used it, I think the last time we used it was in a for loop. Here it's in an if-else statement. So if there's one record, we get into the else, and if there's one record, we use MySQL fetch array to get that one record and store it into row. So now this is one row of that spreadsheet. After that, we are going to do a check for the error message. So if we got into here and this else did not execute, so if the result was empty, then we need to do an if num results is double equal to 0. Session error message is equal to you must first insert a shipper with ID 2. So that will tell us, that will give that first message we saw in this video, because that shipper did not exist. So it gave me that message. I went back to insert, inserted it, came back to update, and it was there. Staying with that error message, in this span, just like last time, we're going to open and close our PHP and do an echo statement. In that echo statement, we're going to write out the error message. Likewise, keeping with last time, keeping with the error message, let's go ahead and finish that out. At the end of this page, we're going to clear the error message. We want the error message to display once on that page, and then we want it to be cleared off so that the next time we come back it's not there unless it's triggered again, right? If you don't clear it at the bottom of the page, then every page you go to, you're going to see that error message. So that's why we clear it out at the bottom of the page. Now the rest of this is auto-population, so we are working inside of the value equals. In this update page, we've got two inputs, one that's displayed and one that's not displayed for the shipper ID. So the one that's displayed is disabled because we don't, for this update, to simplify it, we don't want people to be able to type in the shipper ID. So it's going to be there and disabled. But the thing about a disabled control, a disabled input, is that it does not submit to the next page. So we create one that is also hidden. and the hidden one does submit to the next page. So these two value equals are going to be the same. So we've got a value equals here, and then we've got a value equals here. So this one displays, if I come back to here and go to update, you'll see that this one is grayed out. We cannot type in it like we can type in this one. See my cursor change? So this disabled one does not submit to the next page. When I click the submit button, there's no name equal value pair for that disabled one. However, for the one that's labeled type equal hidden, we can do as many of those as we want, and they will submit with the form to doUpdate.php. So again, we're going to be working inside of this value equals here. Open and close our PHP. Inside of our PHP, we're going to have an if statement. We'll do this for all of them. So we'll say if num results is not equal to 0. Open and close curly brackets. We will echo semicolon at the end. We will echo the row with shipper ID, but I want to trim it because it's being pulled from the database. So I'll do trim inside of that, and then I will pass trim $row with column name shipper ID. So let me click off of that. So we've got open and close PHP. If num results is not equal to 0, echo the trimmed value of shipper ID from this row. Now this exact same thing goes in this value equals. So I'm just going to copy, open PHP to close PHP there, copy that, come down here to value equals and paste it. One displays, one does not. The one that displays does not get submitted, but the one that's hidden does get submitted. They have the same value. And again, we're going to do the same thing, but different rows, right? For company name and phone, we need to auto-populate those. So it's the same thing, exact same thing, except it's going to say company name here and phone here. So again, we need to go to value equals, and I'm just going to move that down here. I'm going to, in between the open and close double quotes, paste my PHP. So I've got value equals. That's the same thing I just copied and pasted from up here, but we're changing this to company name, capital C. It has to match what's in the database. This matches what's in the database, not what's in the PHP. This has to match the column name in the database. Again, same thing for phone. Here's my value equals. Between those double quotes, I'm going to paste. We're changing shipper ID to phone. Again, capitalization needs to match what's in the database. If we come up here, you'll see it underlined here. It's capitalized in the database, so we capitalize it here. And that should finish out our update page, and we're ready to test it, and we're ready to look at doUpdate. So let's save that. From here, click on update, and you'll see that it auto-populates there. Now it's not going to update yet, so if you try to change it, it's not going to update. So let's work on that next. So do a file, new, PHP, create, file, save as, doUpdate.php, Go to Code View, Control A, delete. Open and close our PHP. Start the session at the top. Include the open database connection. And right there I need to stop for 1 second and go look. We need to come back to update.php and we need to put in close dbcon. So we've got to have that in there. So down here, again, I'm on update.php. Below my error message here, I'm going to do includes folder, close dbcon.php. So again, we went back to the update page and we put in our closed database connection. Come back to doUpdate. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it here and change that to close. So I've got it there, open and close. We'll work within those. These first few lines are going to be similar to the do insert, where we grab it and then we sanitize it some. So it's actually going to be the same, but I'm going to type them out again here. So we're going to have a local variable called shipper ID. That's going to be equal to the posted value of shipper ID in the PHP. Again, capitalization here, if we come back to update, needs to match input name equals shipper ID, lowercase s, capital ID, and it's name equals, not ID equals, name equals is what you're looking for. That needs to match here. Company name is equal to the posted value of company name. Phone, local variable phone, is equal to the posted value of phone. Now company name and phone, I'm going to send through add slashes, the built-in PHP function, to help sanitize it. It will escape any characters, any special characters. Next, I have some items that I would like to remove. So we'll do remove these is equal to array. And I'm just going to list out the items that I want. So it's the things that I want to look for. And again, we're going to have the opening PHP less than closing PHP closing HTML semicolon to end a statement. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things there that we're looking for. And again, we're going to do local variable company name is equal to a string replace. We pass string replace the items that we're looking for. We want to replace, if those are found, if we find them, we want to replace it with the empty string. So we just effectively remove it. And the string we're looking in is company name. So we're going to search company name for remove these, and if it's found, replace it with the empty string. Same thing with phone. Is equal to string replace. Again, oops. I didn't wait long enough. And we're looking in phone. Once we've gotten through that, we're going to look and see if shipper ID is empty. So if empty, shipper ID, then let's redirect. We'll just take them out of here, back to the select page. So if shipper ID is empty, let me put a comment here. What's happening here is if it's empty, then somebody has typed the URL to this page. Which we don't want, so redirect them. We'll use that a lot in other pages. So next we'll prepare the SQL statement. Now we go back to the beginning of this video, the update statement. So the update statement is update, table name, keyword set, column name, equal to value, comma, column name, equal to value, keyword where, shipper ID is equal to, in our case, it would be, we could hard code it as 2 for this particular exercise. But what we are going to do is make this so that it will scale to your other exercises. We're going to concatenate there instead. So it's where equals and then concatenated with $ shipper ID, which would still be a 2, right? For this exercise, it's going to be a 2. So instead of hard coding it there, we're going to do it this way because you're going to be doing it this way in all your other exercises. We need to concatenate in here. So we've got our single quotes there. We need to do a set of double quotes, a set of periods for concatenation, and do local variable company name. We need to do concatenation here. We've got our single quotes, set of double quotes, set of periods for concatenation, local variable phone. So now we've got our SQL statement. Again, under here, do an echo and write out $SQL. I forgot my semicolon right here. There we go. This is just for debugging. So before you have a header redirect down here, you can write this out and see what happens. So let's do a save and go ahead and look at this. Come back here, we're on the update page, and let's go to update info, and it writes it out to the screen. Not only that, but once it's written out to the screen, you can copy it, come here, come to your SQL tab, you can paste it in there. So we copied it out of here, we pasted it in here, and I can hit go. It works fine. That means that I didn't have any typos in my PHP. So that's, again, a good way of error checking. I'm going to comment that out. You can leave it in your code. You can use it on every one of these pages that you have, that you form a query. You can do that with. You've just got to stop the redirection is all. So after that, we need to execute it. So we'll do a $result is equal to MySQLi query. We pass it the database connection and the SQL statement. Once it's executed, we close the database connection, and then we do our location redirect. Semicolon at the end, and that will finish out that page. So again, if you want to check this, you would comment out this line and uncomment this line, but so that you don't get a PHP error, you might also comment out this line. Now, if you're looking to see if there is a PHP error, you can leave that one, but it's going to actually try to execute this. When you're done, comment out the echo, uncomment the header location redirect, and save it. Come back here, come to our exercise, go back. So we're on update. I'm going to add some more characters to the company name here and hit update. And number 2, there's my added characters. So it should be, you're going to want to try to do both of them. So I've got 5, 6, 7 there. Number 2, 5, 6, 7 there. So, and then we can, looks like someone has access to my query strings version. So once again, I can come in here and do all right, so we've got update done. We've got insert done, which we just did. We've got update, so we can modify this. And then we need to do delete. Delete's not working yet. So delete is one page. Let's go ahead and go to File, New, Create, File, Save As, delete.php, go to Code View, Control A, delete, open our PHP, close our PHP, start the session, include our open database connection, include our close database connection, we need a delete statement. So let's come back to here. Let's come back to our SQL tab. I am in Shippers Lab 5. Let me browse because there's a lot in there. We're going to delete by the primary key. Again, the primary key is unique and not null. It uniquely identifies one record, one row in this table. So it does not repeat, so it uniquely identifies one row in this table. So we are going to delete by primary key. If you forget the where clause, if you do not delete using where shipper ID equals something, it will delete everything. So let's go ahead and let's delete number 66 there. The delete statement is delete from table name, so shippers lab 5. If you do that, it will delete everything in the table. There are times when maybe you want to do that. There's no, hey, are you sure? Double check this. There's nothing that's going to warn you. If you write delete from table name, your data's gone. So you need a where clause, where the primary key, shipper ID, is equal to 2. Or in our case, we were going to delete 66, weren't we? So delete from table name where column name equal value. This column name is the primary key, uniquely identifies one record, equals a value that exists. In our case, it's going to be 2. Now on here, it asks you, are you sure you want to do that? But in PHP, it does not. Let's go back to browse, and 66 is gone. Let's do it again. Delete from table name. Again, if you stop there, it deletes all data. No mercy. It's all gone. Where primary key equals, ours is going to be 2. Back to browse. Number 2 is gone. So let's come back here. We'll see there's no shipper with ID 2. So we'll go to insert, and we'll insert a shipper ID with 2. So there we have shipper ID 2. Come back to update. It exists. Let's write our delete page. We need a SQL statement. We just wrote it. Delete from table name where primary key, shipper ID, is equal to 2. And we're just going to hard code that one because there was no form submittal before it. We need to execute it. Result is equal to MySQLi query, pass it the database connection, pass it the SQL query, close database connection, header location redirect, semicolon, save. So this is just a pass-through. When we click that delete link, it's going to execute this fast and come back. You'll see the screen refresh, that's it. If 2 does not exist, there's no error message. You can run this multiple times, and if it deletes 2 the first time and then 2 doesn't exist the next time, it won't throw an error message for that one, because effectively it would have done its job had 2 existed. 2 doesn't exist, so it kind of still did its job. So there's no error message there. So now we'll come back to select. We do have a number 2 here, and so keep your eyes on this number 2. When I hit delete, this is just going to blink, and we'll have 2 will be gone. So there 2 is gone, and then you've got to go back. If you go to update, you should get this error message right here. If you go to insert, you can enter a number 2 again. If you come to update, you should be able to update number 2, and then you hit delete and number 2 should disappear. And that finishes out our assignment 5.